Hey everyone, this is OMG Clado for Deuces Cracked, and today I'm going to be showing you me playing 4 tables live. I'm not going to be doing my normal 30 tables, but like I said, I'll be doing 4 tables live. There's also a few in the bottom that I can't get rid of, this little thing in the corner, sorry, but it's basically just because if I bust, I can put like another table in so you guys can, be watching 4 tables all the time. Um, so yeah, I'll just comment on, hands as they come up, and if you guys have any questions at any time, please let me know. As you may have seen, I've got a really simple HUD going on. It's just VPIP, PFR, and number of hands for all sample size. For the next few episodes, like I said, I will be doing a hand history review of a Deuces Crack number, and also I will be playing around 30 tables or so, at least for part of the session. I still haven't confirmed whether I'm going to be doing that for an entire episode or not. Other than that, I'd like to once again ask you guys if there's anything at all that you guys feel that you haven't really learned yet from my series for 180 mans. Please feel free to ask. That's to say, this if there's anything you feel like you'd like to learn that I haven't already talked about, I'd be happy to cover it in the next or in the next few episodes. Time is running out, so please make sure if there's anything you want to learn about that I haven't talked about, please, mention it. So, I think I mentioned this earlier at some stage, but basically I don't really have many notes on that many players. And like I said, you guys should be taking notes, and I definitely will be if I do notice anything noteworthy, especially yeah, in spots that I would have actually seen myself. Um, that's to say, for instance, since I'm four tabling here, and I see something that like I see someone playing a really weird hand. Maybe I should have maybe because I saw that I should take a note of it, but in reality I wouldn't have seen that if I were, playing my normal game, so I won't take a note. Um so whereas if someone was in a big hand against me, for instance, I would have seen that because, I like I said, it would have happened to me and I would have got the notification and I would have seen it. Whereas if, for instance, this guy limps blind versus blind and, shows down crap, I wouldn't have seen that otherwise. Although it's not a big deal. I mean, if you do get to four tables because you're at the end of your session or something, you should be taking these notes anyway. So this is on the top left is a 35, top right and bottom right are both 15s, and the bottom left is an 8. So I mean, so far pretty standard turbo max. Here we just completed the big blind. My raising range here is pretty tight. Now, when we hit top pair, I generally, as a default, like to um, check fold, although betting out isn't, like a mistake or anything in general. If anything, if my kicker were worse, I'd probably be happy to check fold, but, this is kind of the borderline of where, I do bet once and see what happens, and usually just check fold the turn. It's probably quite weak, and perhaps it could be a bit, but I don't really think that. Yeah, it's just not really worth getting into these big pots earlier. When we hit two pair, of course, we can value bet it. But to get on the turn, it could have been a value bet to get um, value from like flush draws and obvious and perhaps some straight draws as well. Like gut shots, maybe 6-5 or something. I know that it's not correct to chase them, but these guys, they will chase with gut shots. So, even if it's a small bet, it's probably better than check folding in that exact spot. It's not that common of a spot, really, to be honest. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. Um, Sorry, the HUD numbers are kind of big relative to the screen, but hopefully it won't be a big problem. Okay, so easy snap call, don't want to slow roll him. Aces doesn't really matter. I make a raise slightly bigger than minimum. In this exact spot, I basically have no reads other than his platinum star, but this is again the month of the month of VIP bonuses, so it's really easy to get platinum stuff. So I wouldn't really take this as significantly as I usually would. Um, so in this exact spot, I would have it was I think what yeah okay 13.5 BBs effective pre-ante. I think I guess I call something like sevens, sixes or sevens plus readless, and maybe like um maybe ace seven suited or something, ace nine off. Like it's quite tight. Yeah, and I'd probably call king queen as well, maybe king jack suited, but probably not even king jack suited really. Like I said, it's quite tight, but readless, and as a default, it should be tight, I guess, in general, is what I'm trying to say. So I don't really have any hotkeys set up at the moment. I have one for all in, and that's it. I definitely should be using others especially when I'm mass multi-tabling. But that was just a side note I thought I should mention. But once again, you guys, if you are thinking about playing more tables and stuff, I definitely recommend Table Ninja, as well as like I pretty much just said, using some hotkeys to help you. Like definitely, for instance, fold. Like even if it's just if on your keyboard, or if you have a pretty good mouse, you can set up so that certain buttons certain moves or plays. So like pretty much like the example I gave here. I don't really mind anything with these stack sizes. I think min raising is okay, and obviously folding to a shove. Well, not obviously, sorry, but I will be folding to a shove pretty quickly. I don't really recognize any of the players. I think the small blind Gasparo is like a sitngo rig. I don't really know what he plays. With these stack sizes, I don't really um have any particular idea what exact size to make it, but I think that's okay. And here I'm just gonna bet really small and shove the river, and hopefully hit for committed. Of course we can already be behind, but I guess with these stack sizes, I'm probably just gonna call it off. Um, Alright, hopefully it's a 10. So yeah, I left like slightly under pot size bet on the river. Just think about these things when you are making your bets. Here, don't love it, but I guess it's an open. Once again, nothing in particular with sizing. Like I don't make sizing based on how strong my hand is, but it's usually depending on the blind levels and this and the stack sizes behind as well. And yeah, once a stack with like basically once a smallish stack shoves, we do have to call it off. Not thrilled about it. And versus some type players will probably be behind their ranges, but we have the pot odds to call. Once again, sorry about this little corner thing. I just have it open just so I can put more tables in once if we bust anything. So you guys can always be watching four. Otherwise, I would have just played four and nothing else. Sorry, the HUD is pretty big. I don't really know where else to put it. Fold. This is yeah. It's on the deeper side for pre-antes, but it's yeah. It should be fine. I mean, I'm not thrilled about it, but it's alright. 10-3 is a fold. Here, just rejam. Don't want to, with these stack sizes, shouldn't really call anything, and yeah, not much to say, and we're obviously not folding. Here, yeah, it's a jam. I would guess sevens plus, but maybe I guess sixes could be okay as well. Okay, that's unfortunate. It's alright. I'll find another table. Here we go. It's pretty standard. I mean, these things happen all the time. These games are pretty much about flips. When I say that, of course, there's like, a lot of skill involved and stuff, but I just mean that, ultimately there are a lot of, flip situations. Okay, that's kind of lame, but let's try to find another one. Sorry about this. Yeah, hopefully this one will load as well. I have a few in the corner. Hang on 1 second. Sorry, I just noticed that I had less than I thought I did. Um, so just in case, I usually always fold with these stack sizes. Opening can't be too bad either, to be honest. And that's just because the weaker players will flat with worse hands when they shouldn't be, and they'll give you. It's a hand you can obviously get decent value from. Here's a 250. I know it's not quite the same as a 35, but sorry, as a 35 that is. But yeah, the other ones I don't really have any stacks, and like, well, I mean, this it's not like I have a stack here, but in other ones I have something like um 4 BBs or something. Yeah, it's a fold. I would again, I don't really have any reads on this guy. I can right click him and see how many tables he's playing, and he's playing quite a few. So I would assume that he is a rig. I mean, of course, he might not even be a winning rig or anything, but it's more information than I have otherwise. And based on that information, I would, in the spot, be calling something like for what, 8 BBs or so. 9, sorry. Yeah, I guess it's pretty similar to the hand earlier, if you guys remember, but probably like sevens or sixes plus, and like ace seven, ace six suited, ace eight or ace nine offsuit, and probably king queen and maybe king jack suited. So here in the top left, I'm gonna fold. I would be pretty tight with what I go with here, and that's just because I expect to get called almost every time by the isolator in pretty early position. I would I would probably say like even nines is probably somewhat close. Um, just because his range should be pretty tight. I know it's a 250, but even then, I'm fairly confident about that. Um, yeah, not much else to say really. Yeah, probably like like even ace jack suited. I'm not that thrilled about, but I guess ace jack suited, ace queen is probably okay. And king queen I would fold here. Blind versus blind. I know it's a bit more than like 10, but ace two is obviously much better than random hands. Okay, so somehow the guy with sevens decides to stack off on that board. Pretty standard for them. Okay, so those are the only tables I have left. I need to open a few more because I'm buster. Right, so as you guys can kind of see, like I have Table Ninja doing some magic for me. I don't have to click OK, and that when it asks me if I want to register, and that saves a bit of time. Here, yeah, pretty obvious. Ace 10 is a jam. Blind versus blind. Sorry, I hope you guys can actually see Ace King fours. Okay, so now there's antes on the top right. Okay, so these are just, in case we need more, fold easily once this random baby um, pretty much shoves. Sorry, I just closed these things. So once again, once there are antes, we need to, be much wider with our ranges, and I'm gonna hopefully find some spots. Okay, queens, it's not really. I don't. I guess you guys don't really need me to teach you that queens is a get in, is a shove, but still. Yeah, these two just in case as well. All right. So, even in spite of two people going in first, we get this in. I would guess like tens would be the bottom. Here ace king pretty much don't fold it pre-flop like at the 180s. I guess I would possibly get an ace queen there also in the bottom right, but not thrilled. Hopefully queens hold. Great, we hit a sit, and hopefully I can show you guys how to like own some late stage games. That's quite surprising. So he jammed. Hang on, sorry. He jammed king four suited. That's definitely not a jam. Um, King Jack here is kind of close. It might even be okay to shove it, but I personally prefer to fold it. Okay, so the player was the final act. So what I'll do now is I'll go to uh, why is it gone? Hang on a second. Sorry. Well, I'll type it in the final act. It should usually be there, and maybe it was, but I just missed it because I'm bad. The okay, my if. Wow, that's interesting. My if key isn't working. Okay. Oh, okay. I think it's because I have some hotkeys on. So that I guess that's one disadvantage if you use like, for instance, F as your hotkey. Um, Shoved pre-ante 10 BB plus with king 4 suited, roughly middle position. It's basically a really loose and pretty terrible shove. So I'm gonna take a note of that. So next time in a pre-ante stage, I can call him a bit wider than I normally would. Here with ace queen, I shoving can't be too bad, but because of the positions, I decided that I would rather just fold. Um, I mean, ace queen suited isn't too different there, but once again, I'd probably give it a fold and just go with ace king plus basically. Like it's kind of giving him a lot of credit and respect, but it can't be too bad. And you can see he's not really a rig probably here. Pretty standard jam. Sorry, there's not much to explain, but basically, his sizing here 3x at these levels usually indicates a weaker player. Like, if any of you do that right now, like it's just basically what I said earlier in like the episodes. It's just at these levels, there's no need to make it so big. If you make it two times, you're threatening a pretty big percentage of your opponent's effective stack. Like at the start, if you make it 60, which is 3x at 1020, then it's something like, I don't know, 3% or like a bit more of your opponent's stack at these levels. If you make it 500, it's 10% of the stack, and that's only a min raise. So it's really really quite bad almost always to make it 3x at these levels and beyond. Even 5100 or something. So yeah, I mean that the fact that he makes a 3x indicates that he's probably a weaker player, and therefore, I would probably have quite a lot of fold equity there. I mean, it's not like if a rig did it there, I wouldn't have any fold equity, but usually it would be less just because they wouldn't make it 3x and then fold. Usually, it's just yeah, not much to say really. But yeah, I think any pocket pair should be a jam there, and it would be okay. Here ace 10 suited under the gun. It's yeah, I'm just gonna fold. It's pretty even standard, I would say. Yeah, here it's kind of weird that he, makes it the size with these stacks, but it's still gonna be a jam. Ace Jack suited, clear jam. So I'm just gonna once again leave these tables on the bottom, and then if we need them, I'll show them. So he folds. Okay, so that's definitely a note that we want to take because it's kind of a weird play, I guess you can say. So I'm gonna say 3x or like 2.5x, 2.5x fold 10 BBs BVB. I mean, you guys can obviously take notes that um are more comprehensive. Here it's yeah versus most rigs, good rigs. It's gonna be a pretty clear jam because his range is gonna be pretty wide there, and as you can see, I mean this is not even the bottom of his range to be honest. So like not just him specifically. I mean I'm not picking on him or anything. It's just every Like every decent rig will be wider there. I mean, if it were me, I'd be isolating myself there, and hopefully you guys as well, which would mean that you guys have a good range there. Yeah, King Jack suited, pretty clear jam. Um, with this stack size, I think I will call here. I mean, he's a supernova, so I mean it's probably gonna be alright. I mean, I'm not, particularly thrilled about it. His ace two call was pretty bad there, by the way. Um, yeah, it's not like I'm super thrilled about it with no reads or whatever, but with that stack size, he should be jamming wide enough. I mean, I guess it's not even that close. Oops, I busted something else. I must be really bad. Let's see. It's a jam. I was just looking at the stack sizes like you guys should also. Um, yeah. Oopsie. So I'm not sure if you guys can hear like the beeping from the time banks. I hope you guys can't. It's yeah, it's not much to say. I'm just taking a lot of time because I want to explain as much as I can when possible. Um, yeah, I mean this is at the early stages again, but I guess that's not really necessarily such a bad thing. Okay, so I know this guy is a rig. I don't really know much about him, but I know he's a rig. This was just an example from a previous video. Actually, I don't actually use that. But we can just say I'll just put him as orange. Like for example, now every time I can look at these things and see he's a rig. Queen three is still jammed though. Like 10 BBs, any two cards usually. If it's a rig, I'll be a bit tighter. But Queen three is better than any two, and we're much shallower as well. Like, I expect him to call pretty wide here. Any king for sure, but. Okay, aces is, pretty clear call, obviously. Alright, that's kind of lame, but oh well. Yeah, I mean, that's just an example. I'm gonna leave it just because um, I haven't really set up my notes properly and I won't use those ones. But yeah, that's an example. As you can see, like, if you make notes on people and you see rings around them, then obviously you know that, you know that they're irregular and you can make your decisions better. It's something you should consider whilst you're playing. Yeah, fold. I mean, if it folded around to us, I'd jam this, super happily, but not much to say otherwise. Yep. I'm not gonna load the three rebuys just because I'm only playing this like session just to make a video. But hopefully there'll be some more interesting spots and stuff. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is a rig. His name looks like it. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with it. I don't know for sure if he is, but but even versus, yeah, most people. I mean, most people can't be too bad. Yeah, I expect his range to be fairly wide there. Although he was a little bit shorter than I actually thought. Here, with the stack size jamming, it's a pretty decent hand, and we don't want to lose any fold equity here. Snap call. Once again, the rig, it's gonna be pretty good versus his range, and of course we don't really get there very well. Here, it's kind of close-ish because of the stack on the button. I'm gonna fold, although getting it in definitely wouldn't be bad or anything. Here, fold. If we have a decent suited hand, I'd get it in here just because obviously our stack is so small, so we don't have any fold equity ourselves. Whereas, here we're getting a pretty good pot odds to get a chance at winning a big pot, which is basically what we want to do when we have such a short stack. And also the fact that like a sizable stack here, 10 BBs has gone all in. It means that it's kind of like, I don't really know exactly how to explain it, but it's kind of like we're stealing this fold equity in the sense that if it gets around to the big blind, even though we're only 2 BBs, the big blind kind of still has to fold to his shove, and it's like we're sort of stealing this fold equity. Um, Alright, so here, Sneaky me, getting some a little extra fold equity, I hope. Yeah, there's really nothing interesting going on in the bottom left anyway, for what it's worth. It's okay, so obviously we're calling. And we're getting great pot odds, like 3 to 1, okay, obviously. Versus that specific hand, it's no use, but you get the idea. I mean, that's obviously we had a decent hand there, but I mean, even if we had 5-6 suited and we got it in there, we're getting 3 to 1 on our money. It's a dream situation basically. I mean, yeah. Once again, I don't really have any colors. Yeah, I mean, as you can see, pretty obviously a rig. Fold here. I mean, I would fold even ace jack here. I guess ace queen I would probably call, although honestly, even folding ace queen there is okay. Here, pretty standard, min raise. Like sometimes I would just shove, but I guess min raising is slightly better, just so we can possibly induce the slightly bigger stacks to jam. I mean, it's not. I don't expect them to jam that much wider than they call, so it's not really a big deal. But I would prefer um to min raise there slightly. Although once again, shoving is definitely fine too. And we pretty much call him, so pretty. Yeah, not much to say. Yeah, I would fold here. I mean, once again, it's kind of closer because of the bigger stack here, and also the button is a little bit deeper, and the big blind too. Um, if they all had like 12 BBs or less, I would probably jam Queen 10 as the bottom of my range there, Queen 10 offsuit and Queen 9 suited, and but with these stacks, I guess Queen Jack is the bottom of my range, although even that's somewhat wide. Um, okay, I hate rivers, pretty good rig here. Jamming definitely. It's 12 BBs with antis, and yeah, I mean this is pretty much the top of my range. I mean I'm shoving. I mean not that much wider, but any pocket pair, probably any suited ace, if not most suited aces. Okay, everyone gets aces. Cool. Oh well. Not much to say. It doesn't really matter, but yeah, it would be nice to. Sometimes some sessions will just be like this. I mean, yeah, like yeah, really not much to say. It's sometimes this will just happen every time. Other times, you'll get aces every time, which is obviously nice, and you can have pretty big winning sessions as well as pretty big losing sessions. So just keep playing. Don't give up, as cheesy as that may sound. And once again, when we have a really short stack and we get it in, it's not actually. Often it's not even a disaster because we're getting really good pot odds. Like we have 570 here in our stack, and assuming the big blind folds, then once again we're getting something like 3 to 1 to our money, and it's just really good. If we win, we get a pretty big pot, 3 to 1 on our money, like I said, and of course get rivered, but oh well, it's fine. All right, yeah, I'm gonna put this up here. Yeah, it's kind of difficult with this format, but like I said, next time I'll at some point definitely show you guys like me just playing normally 30 tables or something. This and it won't be live either, so I can pause and explain. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's crappy ace. These early levels, it's not worth isolating with these crappy hands. Yeah, I fold ace queen on the that flop. It's pretty easy check fold on the flop, and even on the turn, it's yeah, it's just not a. The people love those hands that hit on these kind of boards, and sometimes they've even just pairs like sevens or something, and yeah, ace queen is always a fold there. I guess what I'm saying is it's not very close either. Don't really know what happened there. Did the big blind call it off, or did he shove? Oh, okay. Yeah, not much to say really. don't mind it really, but I would prefer a check raise all in, just because that way the button can, I don't know, make a stab with a crappy hand or something, and he'll win a bit more versus his yeah. If my hand were a little bit more connected, I would fold if it folded to me, of course, but otherwise it's a fold. Once he jams all in, again, I don't really have any reads other than he's a platinum star, which doesn't mean too much this month. I would probably go with like ace 8 suited, ace 10 off. I mean, that's obviously quite tight, but, readless, and we're in pretty early position, so there's still quite a few people behind us. That's what I would go with, and probably sevens plus, I guess. So once again, every time it gets around to us and it's our turn, and we're deciding whether to shove, the things I consider are basically who's behind me, what kind of player are they, their HUD stats, if they're regular or not, if I recognize them, um, our stack size, our actual hand. Like, I'll have a look if it's the bubble. You can go on the info and you can see, for instance, here, 4 out of 36, 36 players left, so we're not quite at the bubble yet, but, maybe in 2 minutes, like maybe 5 minutes or something, there's going to be 26 players left, and we're really close to being in the money, and therefore, like, a lot of the randoms will be calling much tighter because they really want to move up, and, make the money, and the regs will call a bit tighter because of ICM reasons. Basically, the calling is pretty much like tighter for the same reasons almost. And yeah, I mean, you can also go view lobby and see currently 35 players. Yeah, I mean, once again, just because there's nothing happening, I'll tell you in this spot, he made it 3 times. And the blinds were 5100. I'd probably go off like nines plus ace queen, pretty much exactly that range. And he showed, I think, okay, a7, cool. I mean, so normally I wouldn't have seen that, but if you do see it, you can take a note, like, raised a7 suited, oops. I think it was under the gun, but I'll just write early position. T50, sorry, T100. Not really a big deal, but it does mean that next time if I do see him raising under the gun, I can rejam a bit wider than I would versus normal people, like most people, because his range is much wider. Like, because he's opening ace7 or ace6 suited under the gun, as opposed to regulars who would be opening ace-jack plus ace-10 suited at the widest, usually, with these stack sizes and these blind levels. Once again, some pretty easy turbo marks. Here, excuse me, here blind versus blind, pretty easy jam. Well, not anymore. It's a supernova, so he's probably somewhat a reg, but I don't really recognize him. And I would, yeah, be pretty happy to jam there once again for the reasons I said in earlier videos, just because even if they are calling wider than normal people are, well, non-regulars anyway, not normal people, what am I talking about? Then it's still not going to be wide enough for it to not be profitable with a hand, with any 2 cards yet. They have to call really, really wide once there's antes, and until proven otherwise, I'm willing to jam. And if it folds around to us, I'm gonna be jamming. I mean, I'm not like, I mean, I guess I would. What I'm trying to say is, it's not like extremely profitable necessarily, just because there is a rig in the small blind confirmed. Well, probably a rig anyway because of the supernova thing. But yeah, I mean, our hand is much better than any 2 cards as well. Wow, a little bit better than any 2 cards. Unfortunately, we get snapped by queens, which sucks. But oh well. And here, I would normally jam a bit wider than King 8 offsuit here, but because we just got, I guess, caught, you can say, with 5-9, then, I would jam a bit tighter, but I guess King 8 would still be the bottom of my range, so I would still jam it there. Once someone else jams first, obviously we can't though. Sorry, I do realize that this HUD is pretty annoying, just the way it's been set out, but I just, figure that it probably gives you an idea of how I use the stats. But I mean, nothing too significant has come up so far where I did use it. But once again, if a guy's stats seem like a rig, it means obviously that he's more likely to be a rig, and therefore we can adjust our play. And obviously, if some guy has, like, for instance, I mean, these sample sizes are all way too small, so there's not really much I can do with them. But like, this guy 48, 29, I would jam on top of him with a wider range than I would, for instance, if this 5-5 guy limped. Here, pretty easy jam. And here we're obviously calling it off, even if the small blind also goes all in. Although I guess his range would be pretty tight there just because they're 30 big blinds effective. But yeah, I mean, ace-5 there's a definite standard jam. Queens. We run pretty good, yeah. This is, yeah, I would jam here usually. Here's another table. Once again, at the early stages, nothing much is happening in any of my tables, unfortunately, so I can't really show much. Hopefully here we can get a little bit. I can maybe tell you about bubble play a bit if we get closer. Yeah, so we're getting close to the bubble. Here, I'm pretty much committed with any two. And even if I don't have the odds to call versus his range, which I'm pretty sure I do. Well, I mean, which with this stack size I definitely do. But I mean, even if I didn't, I'd be willing to get it in here just because, like I said, it's kind of our last chance to get any fold equity. And so we have no fold equity, therefore we should be willing to get it in with anything really. To get a small chance at doubling up and stuff. Sorry, getting a stack here. It's kind of close. It's the bottom of my range. Like here, I'm gonna see if the blinds are gonna go up, and next level is in 1 minute. So yeah, blinds are gonna go up. So therefore, I would jam here. Whereas if they were going up in 5 minutes, I might just fold. I mean, it's somewhat close, and I definitely wouldn't blame you for folding. Although I would definitely be jamming King 10 and King 9 suited, maybe King 8 suited as well. Hopefully, okay, it's not great. King, yay. um, okay, I mean, this is not. I don't really know. I'm just gonna explain this first. I'll jam here. It's close-ish, and there's two biggish stacks, but I still don't mind it here. I mean, yeah, it wasn't. I don't really know what the best thing to do there is. I guess. I mean, shoving can't be too bad, just because our equity is never very bad, and sometimes they'll both just fold. On the other hand, sometimes the weaker players might just call with any ace or something on that board, and it's not too good, and we don't have that much fold equity. So I definitely wouldn't blame a check fold. Once again, here it's kind of deepish with the button and the small blind, but I think it's still should be profitable. Although my image, like I said earlier, wasn't too good. So now if you look at the unlimited, in his spot, it's kind of a dream situation. He can call for any two cards, and he's stealing our fold equity. Like, with his stack size, he has no fold equity, obviously. If he calls, then the big blind is literally committed with any two. However, like, when we jam, then the blinds have to fold, and he's still getting the good pot odds with his stack size. So it's pretty much, yeah, like a dream situation for him, and it would be for us too if we were in that situation as well. So once again, if you have a really short stack and like a bigger stack jams, and then you're in between, well, basically if you're anywhere really, then you can call quite wide for the reasons I said quite a few times already. But basically, one, because you don't have any fold equity yourself, so even if it's slightly minus EV chip wise, you definitely want to be willing to take a chance to get a bigger stack and get some fold equity. But also just because of the obvious, well, not obvious, but what I just said, yeah, how you have basically stolen someone else's fold equity. Um, Here, I mean, folding isn't too bad either, just because it's blind versus blind, and the blinds are so insignificant at 15-30, and it's not really a hand that plays great. But usually I would open this unless the guy is pretty crazy. Here, it's probably going to be close. If it's a regular, I would be somewhat happy to get it in. What I would normally do here now, because I looked them up and it's hidden, I would maybe, for example, look them up on some sites or whatever. But for the purpose of this video, I will just fold here, and I guess I would go with King Queen. Like, once again, it could be very bad to get it in versus his range, depending on what kind of player he is. But I should be okay. Like, usually I found these days that I was giving quite a lot of credit before, to yeah, to basically randoms, and when I did call them because I did have a hand, um, I usually saw stuff like, basically I saw that they were able to jam, um, wider than I would expect the random to be able to. And what I mean by that is, for instance, they might jam things like, I don't know, Queen 10 with 10 BBs or whatever. Yeah, I mean, I could have bet at some stage to fold out 8s and 10s or something like that, but it's not a big deal here. Yeah, I was just, because with it versus his stack size, when you flop the nuts, it's really not a crime to just, check to him and let him bluff or whatever, but it's no big deal. Alright, so here we're basically on the pretty much almost exact bubble. 22 and 18 gets paid. So here I would jam wider than I normally would. 3-8 I would still fold though. Although, because of the button stack size, jamming here probably wouldn't even be too bad really. Like in this spot, I would probably jam like at least 75%, if not more, because we're basically on the button versus two 10 BB stacks, and as you guys know, we can jam any two in that spot, and because it's the bubble, even more so. And the fact that there is now one guy in between with three BBs is made up for by the fact that it's the bubble, basically, I guess. Here, I would fold. Like, I don't know anything about his game. He obviously looks quite tight, and I don't think he's a 180 player in general. I think he's a cash game player, but yeah, I mean, regardless, with these stack sizes, like, I don't. I mean, of course, I'd have some fold equity, but Ace two suited is just gonna do pretty poorly versus his calling range, and I would, jam, like, maybe for example Ace Jack plus and like pocket eights plus or something like that. Yeah, once again, not so sure how much fold equity I have, but perhaps because of ICM, I don't even know if he's going to consider it or not. Because some players just won't, some players will. Because we're on the bubble, is what I meant, by the way. Since we're on the bubble, and if he calls and loses, he loses quite a lot of equity. Then maybe he's going to call like a little bit tighter, versus my stack. But I don't want to make that assumption because it can kind of own me if I'm wrong. Here, after Olympa, his stats look pretty. Yeah, not much to say. It just looks pretty. I don't know, fishy, I guess. Um, and although it's not like exactly like I'm so thrilled about it. I'm pretty okay with jamming this, and I think it should be fine. Pretty confident it's fine. That's what I mean. Sorry. And yeah, I mean, once again, as you like, I don't know if this is a rig or not, but with his stack size, it was a correct call. Like, because yeah, I mean, when everyone else folds, he's getting like, I don't know, what, 4-1 on his money, and it's heads up. Like, he put in one. Okay, and he was sorry, he was also in the small blind, so it was pretty much no brainer. Um, yeah, 60, 27, obviously pretty loose and fishy. I don't mind any play here. I'm just gonna call. Like, normally, um, well, I guess three bidding would be kind of bad, but I mean, I wouldn't mind folding. Basically, is what I was gonna say. And we play straightforward. Like, if we miss, we just check fold, because these guys will check and then they'll call it off eights or something. And I'm not even saying that's bad, but it's just yeah, not much to say really. Like, maybe they would have folded the exact hands, but versus their range, it's pretty bad to bet there. Heads up, it would have been a bit better. I really, really hate this spot. I think it's maybe a fold because he's 3-3 over 30 hands, and it's a rig also. Uh, I honestly wouldn't blame anyone for getting it in here, although in practice it's a fold. For the purpose of this video, I'm just gonna get it in, but I would say it's probably a fold, to be honest. Like, queens plus ace king and even that might not even be doing that well versus this guy's particular range, but it's okay. And I'm pretty surprised the 13-9 folded after flatting there with that stack size, but oh well. And yeah, I mean, like I said, it's pretty damn nutted here. It's multi-tabling, and um, yeah, it's a rig. It's not going to be doing that with tens, and probably not even jacks. Like, for instance, he might do it with jacks half the time, and like queens plus every time or something. And like, I mean, usually as unbalanced as it is, usually they just jam ace king here. They don't really like to 3-bit. Um, so yeah, like I said, it's probably a fold, but for the purpose of the video, I'm not gonna fold jacks at 180. But yeah, I mean, when the rigs 3-bit in these games, it's pretty nutted. Here versus this guy, really loose. I'm gonna jam here, and if anything, I expect to get called by worse sometimes. Alright, so decent stack shoves and someone else snap calls. Yeah, getting out of the way. Here's the last table. The video's already been 45 minutes, so I'll just wait until these remaining tables bust. And if we're down to one table or something, maybe I won't even bother. Here, I'm probably gonna isolate. See, it's the bubble, and these guys behind will call pretty tightly, and he's shoving any two, if not close. Sorry, if not any two, close to any two. Although I don't really know his game well enough to be sure about that, but any decent regular should be, and a supernova elite has played enough hands in poker to know that he shouldn't be losing for equity. I hope so. Yeah, I mean, of course, he could show up with aces, but that doesn't really mean much. Whereas, I mean, I'm hoping he'll show up with crap, just so I can that way I can confirm what I said. Whereas if he shows up with the top of his range, it doesn't really, I can't confirm anything. All I know is that he shoves aces and or kings or whatever, and that doesn't mean anything. So if he shows up with 4-3 offsuit or something, I can basically say yes, he's shoving any two. But yeah, I mean, Queen Jack isn't really that wide, but you know, I am pretty confident. Like I said, I'm gonna fold here. Yeah, I mean it's the exact bubble, so I mean shoving would actually be okay, but um, I am kind of deep with the big blind, and I don't really want to. Yeah, I mean it's because it's so close anyway. I don't really want to yeah do anything really. I can't really raise and fold to people, and shoving is probably kind of thin. I mean it can't be too bad, of course. Okay, so it's a break. I'll probably just pause the video until the break is over. Alright. Okay, so the break is over. This is the first hand since break is finished, and as you can see, the other two tables haven't even well, now this one has, but yeah, it just proves that I was telling the truth. Here, I mean, it's kind of suspicious or whatever, but I think he's folding like almost every time. I mean, obviously, if he snaps me off now, it kind of looks embarrassing. But I mean, yeah, it's obviously on the deeper side, but it's still like close to the bubble and stuff. And I don't really think. I mean, obviously, we don't have him covered, but I don't think he will trap as often in this spot. Once again, checking is definitely fine. I mean, 20 BBs, we can definitely just check and see a flop and hopefully win the pot anyway, or even win a bigger one than just jamming. But there's quite a lot of dead money, and once again, it's close. Like I mean, normally if it was shorter, I would be happy to jam very quickly there. But with these stack sizes, I think you can do anything here. Jacks is pretty clear jam. There's not much to say really. You can of course, I guess min raise or something like that, but I think it's much better to just jam with those stack sizes. Here, pretty clear isolate, even with two people. I mean, any pocket pair really could probably be an isolate, but like tens is just not even close to a fold. And it's nice here. Eights, yeah, again, pretty clear jam. Like pocket twos should be a pretty clear jam there. Actually, I guess twos is kind of close, just because we're kind of deep with like three guys here, like Silvilka, 20, the genius, and Wicca or whatever. But yeah, eights is definitely a clear jam. So hopefully we can get somewhere with this one, and I can, talk a bit more about some final table things as well. But yeah, I mean, I hopefully have explained like a lot of the stuff already, and once again, if I haven't, feel free to ask me to explain, or just basically just let me know if there's something that I haven't mentioned, and I'll be more than happy to do so in the future episodes that are remaining. Once again, most of the basic final table things I think I have. I mean, perhaps I could go through a bit more of details in sitngo wizard or something like that, but generally it's pretty much yeah, I mean, like I said, be a bit uh push pretty similar in terms of your ranges, because whilst we lose more accuracy when we're called because of ICM, people call tighter because it's the final table and the pay jumps are pretty big, and because of ICM as well, they call tighter. But that's the first thing, and yeah, I mean, of course, call a bit tighter, especially when there are short stacks on the final table. Push a bit wider on the bubble, just stuff like that, basically. And once again, all of these things come with practice. When this guy makes it like like 4x or something like that, I have no idea. Like I would get it in pretty tight. It seems pretty weird. I mean, maybe I guess like nines or tens plus an ace queen probably can't be too bad. I think as bad as it may be, like on his part, I think I do have some fold equity occasionally. Not much, but you know, I don't think he's like never folding basically. So yeah, I mean basically the shorter someone is on the final table, and the more short stacks there are, the more important ICM is. So therefore, you know, the more we have to alter our calling ranges. Of course, this isn't the final table, but you know, if it is the final table and someone jams on us, and we have to decide whether to call or fold, you know, it's more important. Our calling range will be tighter if there's a lot of like small stacks, and especially if they're significantly small. Sorry, I hope that made sense. I know that wasn't the best English ever. And similarly, the bigger our stack is, the more it's important. Like the more important it is as well. So, for instance, if someone jams like 50k on us, and we have a 49k stack, and everyone else has 10k on the table, then obviously ICM is going to be much more important than if, for instance, we had 10k instead. Here, blind versus blind, pre-antes. I mean, it's 8 BBs or something like that. I don't mind jamming any two here. And King 2 is obviously better than any two anyway, so yeah. Versus a regular who I know is calling kind of wide, like as a fact that I know, then you know maybe I'll be a bit tighter there. But King 2, I'll be pretty happy to jam versus anyone who I don't have any reads on, basically. 4-3 I fold. I mean, I don't know exactly what I call. I don't really have any reads, I don't think, but okay, it's a regular. I guess probably like once again, the only read is he's a regular, so I don't really know, you know, how wide he is exactly. Maybe as a default, like sixes or sevens plus, probably, and yeah, King Queen probably is also. I mean, King Queen might be close readless. I mean, versus the good regulars, they should be jamming King Queen there. I mean, sorry, they should be jamming wide enough for King Queen to be a good call there, but and even wider than King Queen, really, like King Jack and stuff. But without reads, I think King Queen is probably close. I guess I call King Queen suited and maybe like Ace 9. Probably Ace 8 suited, Ace 10 off or something. Probably a bit wider even. Here, rejam is fine. This guy's call is kind of suspicious. Like his stats look kind of like like a tight rig. Although it's maybe just the fish as well. I don't really know for sure, but it's kind of suspicious anyway. Yeah, okay, maybe not then. Um, yeah, I mean that's the reason why EV doesn't really matter. I mean we put in all of our stack pre-flop pretty much, and then I shuffle 100 more, and you know if this was a cash game or whatever, it would be like it would say I sucked out for billions. So yeah, not much to say. Okay, now it's a fold. Like I was just gonna say, if it folded to me, I was gonna think about what to do here. I'm just gonna jam. It's pretty easy. But yeah, I was just gonna say, if it folded around to us, I would look at him, see what he's doing. Okay, he's playing one table, so I mean it's too deep to jam. But I could, for instance, call, or raise small, and yeah, these are both good options. Here, I mean we're pretty short, so sixes is a jam here. I mean, 10 BBs, it's kind of closer, although I don't mind jamming sixes there. Again, you know, kind of the bottom of our range and stuff. Yeah, I mean, you know, we can get caught, like we do get caught as you can see here, but then our range is just gonna, sorry, our hand is not gonna do so badly with the pot odds. Yeah, if the big blind is a random, I don't really mind raising small here just because, you know, the pot is so big. Oops, I just jammed pretty much. Oh well. I don't mind jamming here, but Just because obviously we have such a short stack, but I would rather wait for a slightly better hand. Yeah, once again, I was meaning to raise to 699. Yeah, kind of sucks. Okay. Oh well. It's kind of nice to wake up with like a decent hand the next hand, but yeah, I mean, like I said, it was pretty gay. It was definitely just supposed to be a small raise because they're both fishy, and it should be profitable because there's so much dead money. I mean, of course they don't fold every time, but yeah, when they do, um, yeah, and we bust this, so there's two left. Yeah, I mean, sorry, I don't like with the way I've set it up. There's not really any other way to put it. I don't think, without it like overlapping. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's not like it's much better this way anyway. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit better. Okay, so both pretty standard. I was hoping maybe they'd show up with something a little bit worth talking about, but not really. Okay, 11 players left. I might yeah, I mean, I was gonna say I might consider calling with this, depending on who shoves, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of close, but basically for fold equity reasons. When he shoves, I think it's like in terms of chips, it might not be plus EV to call, because if it's a random, then his range won't be that wide, but yeah, basically, picking up fold equity is very important, and yeah, I like with my I don't know, I guess capabilities with shoving ranges, I'm pretty comfortable taking a slightly, or maybe even, yeah, it wouldn't be that bad regardless, but basically a minus chip EV move just to pick up some fold equity or take a chance at picking up some fold equity. Unfortunately, it doesn't really happen, but I mean, hopefully you guys learned something anyway. That being said, never give up, and it's not over yet. Yeah, maybe the 35 would have gone somewhere if I didn't, jam 20 BPs, but whatever. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it'll work, but sometimes it does, and I'll just show you guys, like, occasionally they misclick or whatever, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, okay. Snap. Whatever. Okay. It's nice to win a flip. Wow, as close to flip as I can get, I guess. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is a rig. So I'm gonna get it in with this. I think even like a weak player should be jamming any pocket there. So I think fives is a pretty clear get it in. There's so much now it's kind of I don't mind calling here. And I'm gonna do it. Like folding is also fine. Like our hand isn't great in terms of its equity multi-way, but once again, at the chance of with this kind of stack size, I don't really mind taking a slightly um minus chip EV move just to basically get a chance at picking up a nice stack. And as you can see now, we've got like 4.8k, and we can make some pretty damn profitable jams once we have the stack size given our edge over the field. And whereas if we had folded and we've got 6 BBs, it's equity wise, I'm pretty happy to yeah, move up to 20 BBs. Considering like the kind of calling ranges and shoving ranges of the average players. Yeah, I mean here once again, jamming is fine, but I'd rather have a slightly better hand. I mean, to be honest, I'm probably just gonna jam any two. The next hand will be under the gun, so first to act. Not much to say really. I mean, it's just yeah, like I said, once again, never ever like you lose fold equity. So yeah, I mean this is really clear jam. And maybe if the big blind is bad enough, he might just fold, even if he didn't notice um, that we're basically all in anyway. I mean, when they fold, we basically gain 50% of our stack, so it's so massive, and yeah, they're folding much more often than they should be. On average, yeah, I mean, the big blind should be calling like any two there, so I don't know. But there's, yeah, unfortunately not much I can do with like 5 big blinds. But hopefully I can win some flips or something. Yeah, it's unfortunately I think it's probably still a fold. I mean, once again, I wouldn't mind calling there, just for the reasons I've explained several times. But I think probably it's better to fold. Aces is nice. What I'm gonna do is, if it folds to me, I'm gonna make it 9999 again, just because he might think that my ranges are gonna be weighted towards crap when I do it. And I guess that you can argue that it's a balance thing, so whatever. But yeah, I mean, ace queen is never folding anyway. But yeah, it's nice to hold. And just like that, now we have like 9.5 BBs or something. So once you win a flip, you do. Like, if you are, sorry, what I mean is, if you're really short and you win like one all in or two, then you can still come back to win it. And I have, like many others, come back to from like 2 BBs or something to win the whole thing or whatever. So basically, just never give up. I mean, if you're really short, still play your A game and you can still win. Here, yeah, I mean, they're shorter than 10 BBs and stuff, and the hand is slightly better than like 2-3, and yeah, I just basically don't mind shoving here, and I think it should be profitable. And even if it's like slightly minus EV, minus chip EV, which I don't think it is, it's still going to be fine, just because we can pick up some chips and stuff. And it was also the final table bubble, for what it's worth, so that means that again we can shove a little bit wider than we normally would, just because they're once again going to be calling a bit tighter because of ICM slash moving up in pay ladder. Now let's have a look at the pay ladder. So this is like a 15, and from 9th to 8th they get like an extra $22, which is 1.5 buy-ins. Now, if we go up to say 5th to 4th, it's $40, which is like nearly 3 buy-ins. And if you can consider like how much that is for some of these guys who are playing with like 3 buy-in rolls and stuff, then it's pretty big. Like the randoms who have like $50 in their account and play the 15 and get to the final 4. I mean, honestly, if you shove on them, considering that they can fold and try to get to third, and gain $100 more, then they're gonna fold some. Basically, I don't know, for example, ace 10, ace queen. Like, I mean, I'm not saying they will always fold ace queen, of course, but I'm just saying they will fold like decent aces and stuff like that. When yeah, they risk going all in and the pay jump is so high. I mean, even imagine yourself, like if you had $50 in your account and you played a 15 and you got to the final 4, surely your calling range is going to be pretty tight, considering how calling risks your whole stack and your tournament life, whereas, folding means that you can kind of fold into third place, hopefully, or whatever. Yeah. Alright, so this video went on for quite a bit longer than I had expected. The total time was something like 2 hours. So this episode's actually going to be split up into 2, and this is going to be the end of episode 5. So episode 6 is obviously basically going to start off exactly where episode 5 ends. So I hope you guys will tune into next week and see episode 6. Thanks for watching, and this is OMG Clado for Deuces Crack.